Hey there, my friends. It's Dave Sharp. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And wow, my dear friends, we have yet another amazing guest for you here this morning. As always, our guests here on the show are actual students here at Legendary Marketer, people who are going through our programs and curriculum and who are finding success with the strategies and the business models that we teach here. And all of the conversations that we have here on Wake Up Legendary are completely transparent, authentic, off the cuff, no scripting, no conversating behind the scenes, even before we go live. So you hear every single word that I hear from this guest. If you want to get a nice little nudge, a little gentle reminder anytime that we go live, just a little text message to your phone. We'll never spam, sell, all the things. We'll never do any of that. We'll just send you a little text message at 10 a.m. Eastern time when we go live with a direct link to the show. You can text, and you can see it on your screen here, the letters WUL, and you put those letters where you would normally write the words at, WUL, and then text that to the number 813-296-8553. Again, that's 813-296-8553. And now that I've gotten my radio announcement out of the way, please help me welcome Nigel to the show. What's up, brother?
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, everyone.
Nice to see you, my friend. Tell us where you're calling in from.
I'm calling in from Edmonton, Canada, and it's a bitter cold winter right now here. We're feeling it. We're feeling it.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, it's like 60 degrees outside here in Florida, and for us Floridians, even when the AC goes down below 72, we get out our jackets.
Wow. Yeah. This is like it's a -10. It was frosty on my windshield this morning. This is what we do in Canada is we scrape the windshield frost off, and I mean, I identify a lot with. I was talking to Joanne, who was, as a contractor, spent years loving the summers, and then winters came by, and we got frozen fingers and frosty, wearing thick sweaters, trying to work outside when I was a contractor. So this reminds me of how grateful I am to be a digital marketer now.
Well, that's exactly, I can understand part of your why there is to get back inside, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad that you're nice and warm with us here this morning. Hopefully you've got your heat kicking there. So now that you are all warm and toasty, and we're here together, you're live, you're here. Tell us how you found us, man. Tell us, what you were looking for. Do you feel like you found what you were looking for? How did you get here?
Yeah, I came from COVID rocked me hard as a carpenter, and that was so hard on everyone, But I kept moving and did my best. Started just going online looking for, the regular things like how can I make an extra $1,000 here or there to pay for bills, make ends meet. As I was building decks on the weekends, doing those side jobs, but I stumbled on everything you can imagine: drop shipping, print on demand. I did 5-day challenges, and I was just floating from this to that because I don't have expertise with anything except like a tape measure, right? I brought this in as a prop because I know, like, that's what I used to do. I used to read a tape, and so I was looking at learning, like I was on Facebook scrolling at all this time because you work an office job. That was what I got into, but I was an entrepreneur at heart, so I kept going, and I saw a lot of folks doing Facebook posts, and I saw people earning like 20 grand on vacation, and I'm like, what are they doing? So my curiosity was piqued, and I started just asking, because nothing else worked. I didn't even know, some people mentioned what affiliate marketing was, and then I just asked and someone said, oh, you can work with mentors, and you can get your websites, and you can do this, and I'm like, So I started getting into the industry, and when I finally learned to get like 7-second video, 15-second video, real short form videos going, is when my eyes opened up to how digital marketing is like so powerful. So, where I used to be a strong person, because I had to lift lumber and hammer nails and stuff, I now have that resilience of spirit. And so that is kind of what attracted me to Legendary, is because there's this like massive sense of clarity that we have something here that you can't, that you can't take for granted, because it's so it's so well organized for what that sense of like, we don't have to go back to that miserable lifestyle. We can take advantage of our own sense of entrepreneurship with this little tiny device, and connect with so many people, and it's like the professionalism that Legendary put in front of me. I was like, I got to get in with and learn more.
Yeah. Well, you have certainly created some results for yourself. You've got 250,000 people who are following you on both Instagram and Facebook. And so, friends, we're going to get into how Nigel has created that sort of audience. And it sure is nice to have an audience online who you can market to, isn't it, Nigel? Doesn't that change the game for you? And for all of those who are, right now, only have a few dozen followers or a few hundred, what is your message to those people?
I started, I had 300 followers on Facebook, or friends on Facebook, and 300 friends on Instagram in September 2022. And I didn't even know what a professional profile was on Instagram. I didn't even know how to post a reel. Like, I mean, I tried it a couple of times, but didn't know anything. So once I really nailed down how to register my change of heart with where I was going, and I could offer the sense of, your pains can be resolved, whoever I was serving. And I decided to serve an audience who had, the desire to increase their income. Because that was the biggest thing for me, was like, I could barely pay rent in June 2022 because I put all this money on these cheap little programs, and burned on this one, and that didn't work. And I was even spending money on ads. The pain was hard for me. And so I'm like, wow, so now that I figured it out, I really want to help people. And the audience just kaboom. There's just, because there's just tons of connection there for people that are young but don't want to go to college, people that are middle-aged, and they've been in the same job, and there's just a glass ceiling, there's just nowhere to go. Couples that are having their new kids, and they want to be at home, and you're feeling that out, that we just don't want to live the same way we did, that our parents did, and parents didn't have a choice, this kind of choice. And now it's just like becoming aware is people are so keen and interested to learn more. So,
and we don't even want to go back to the way we were living pre-pandemic, do we?
Yeah. It's true. That was the rearing that ugly head of self-honesty. Like, I was a blue collar guy. I know that you go out to get your shovel, and you go in the trench, and you go and you dig holes, and you grin and bear it. And you have to, because at least you got someone shoulder to shoulder, camaraderie. But at some point, you just got to say to yourself, look, I just want something else. And it ain't you. It's not your fault. Not your fault. All the folks around you that are supporting you. And that's a hard decision, because you feel like you're betraying people that have been there for you, and they're organized. But that once you get it, I think that little registered little voice in your head, it says, you know what? I want to make twice as much money as I do now, because I want to live a better life. And that one little sentence, it's hard for a lot of people to admit, but it made sense for me, and COVID made it a very loud voice.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there. We do have a money block in admitting that we want to have more money and earn more money. Is that what I hear you saying?
Well, I mean, it's kind of unspoken and normal. Like people say, I want to do this or that. I want to make so much money because I love doing, for me, I was an engineer. I actually went to school for engineering, and I had this money block where I'm like, well, if I could make 60 grand a year, that'd be secure. That'd be
Yeah.
fine. I don't want to ask for too much.
I should be grateful for that,
Should be
right?
grateful for that. Yeah. And years passed, and obviously the corporate 9 to 5 didn't work for me. These old boys clubs where, you can't be senior to him because, or this is, he got in earlier than you, and you will only pay for this training for this. And so I'm just like, you get cornered into, not being able to actually speak your voice. And that's why I went into carpentry in the first place, because I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, make as much money as I want. But then after so many years, I found out you still can only move so fast. You still can only build so much. And, I was like kind of settled into it. Right.
Yeah, I think that that's relatable in so many different career paths that, I mean, Robert said guilty as charged for the longest time. I wonder who else can relate to that, no matter where you were, no matter where you were working, what industry, what company. In most of society, companies, as you say, there's a good old boys club, and most promotions are based on seniority. And so if you haven't been there longer than somebody else, then you're probably not going to get the promotion. And oh, by the way, the promotion is only a $2 and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The promotion is not giving you a life-changing income or opportunity. So you have to at a certain point, and as you have, I believe you're a father and a husband, and now have more than yourself to be responsible for. I guess if you were a bachelor and you didn't have any kids, maybe you might be more financially flexible. Who knows? But it really becomes real when when you're away from the house all day, when you're not doing something that you love, and in your case, when you're doing it in the freezing cold. My God. I know I'm down here in the hot Florida sun, and there was nothing that I hated more than going out on a 100-degree summer day to work outside on some job site. But there's nothing more than I hate. There's one thing that I hate more than a hot Florida day, and that is a cold Florida day. So I can't imagine what a cold Canada day feels like if I had to be out there. I literally almost feel paralyzed in that sort of cold. And so it's not just a mental and emotional, challenge. It can also be a physical challenge. I think also as we get older, we have to ask ourselves, how is this job taking a toll on my physical body?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Not only from the perspective of how hard I'm working, but also, am I sleeping? Am I getting adequate sleep? Am I getting adequate rest? Can my body handle this? How many more years of this can I take? All of these
Yeah.
questions are questions that we have to start being honest with ourselves about, because there are many people that I know that worked in the trades and who have worked up into their 60s, and then their body begins to give out, and if they don't have any savings or any sort of investments, they're pretty much screwed. And it's a scary place to be. I think as we get older, if we have nothing to show for all the work that we've put in for the past several decades, that's a very disheartening and scary place to be. And so I see you trying to avoid that as you move into this middle chapter of your life. And so let's talk about what you've done, how you've created the following, the 250,000 at this point, just between two platforms, 500,000 people who are following you. remind us when you got started again, just so we can understand the timeline, and tell us what the beginnings of going through the challenge, what sort of limiting beliefs were coming up for you as you were beginning this process, that were some of the big ones that stood in your way that you had to overcome.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I basically, when I would just do work order requests, I when I was building houses, I used email. That was about all I ever did. But I started seeing people, even contractors, who would film themselves on job sites, and they were getting millions and millions of views. And I was like, how do these guys have time for that? How do they even know how to use their phones and do all these snappy things? And I didn't really pay much attention to it. But once I noticed the money that was coming out, I thought, well, how is this? How's this happen? And it started to clue into me. It's just because of the volume. When you can just reach that many people and have a pure kind of message, you can't please everybody, but if you have a pure message that kind of pleases one person, which is what I learned when I read some of the books on dream customers, and when I went through the challenge and learned about how to follow your audience forming system, I found that I spend less time working and more time relaxing, and that just inspires people, right? People find that they want to understand, they want to unravel the mystery. How is it you do that, right? So at first I think it's kind of a toss up. Well, what if you don't have followers? How do you get followers to make it look like, well, that's where I would just create novelty, just create curiosity. I was always showing things that people didn't know about. And, maybe seasoned marketers might forget that, because that's that novel moment when I first found out about digital marketing, that I was the most curious and the most excited and the most hungry to change. Like, I was just hungry, like, so much in pain that I would just wanted to eat up everything I could to figure it out. So that's where I focus my attention, is on giving my presence, my care to people who were like, wondering, where do I put my affiliate link? What is an affiliate link? How do what do you mean? What is a niche? Because I remember going through that in my first try at YouTube automation. I'm like, a niche? Oh yeah. Okay. What do you? And I sat there for 3 days going, and I'm like, this is crazy. So I put that aside, but it took me a while to figure that, oh, so if I'm doing marketing, I need to go into one niche. And that wisdom, a lot of beginners might not even know that. And if you can deliver that kind of wisdom, it inspires tons of trust, and people like you for being honest, and then they want to know you more. And I've got so many contractors and so many blue collar guys that reach out and say, I want to do how you're doing. And so I just show the truth of myself, and people identify with that.
That's me. It's my end. Sorry. I like to put myself on mute and then talk to myself and get my guest all scared. Screwed up. Always. Oh, technical challenges, my friends. They're always
wake up legendary. It's another wake up legendary moment.
Just to kind of keep you on your toes, just to kind of like, oh shit, is my audio broke? I like to just scare our guest, but it's really just me being a technical gremlin over here. So let me try to translate for everybody what you're talking about, because remind me when you started. When did you start this? When did you start? Like, when did you finally put your money where your mouth is, put some skin in the game, and pay to go through the challenge? And then, I think you bought the blueprints. And when did you start marketing? Just help me understand that timeline real quick. And then I want to come back to what you were just talking about.
Yeah. Well, I got in the industry. I didn't find Legendary from the start. I found Legendary after I had, quite a number of followers. But Legendary has been on the forefront. Actually, the person I got into, he started with Legendary and talked about it. And, but I started in like August 2022. And what is unique about Legendary is that it's not hype driven. So it's got this more of a, kind of temple in the mountains feel. You're going to those ancient ruins. It's like this very respected place. And I had a lot of imposter syndrome that kept me from going to what I thought would be best. And it took me a while. I just want to make note of that. So yeah, I started, I took the 15-day challenge and got the blueprints. Once I manned up and said, all right, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to listen and hear from Dave.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. So what I think and I appreciate that. I mean, it's an honor, man, to be a part of your journey, and to have somebody who has already been doing some internet marketing come in here and still be learning to, humble themselves and learn, and just, keep growing any way that you can. And so I got unbelievable respect for you and for your decision to come in here and keep learning. Um, so what I heard you saying a minute ago about the novelty and sort of about the newness and about the simple topics was one of the ways that you've attracted a large audience, is by talking about the very simple new concepts that everybody who is getting started or who is in contemplation mode is kind of doesn't know about. And a lot of those concepts, many of you who are marketing, no matter what niche you're in, more than the person who knows nothing, right? And the majority of your audience who are going to buy something from you are those people who are in contemplation mode and pretty much know nothing, right? They're just kind of looking, they're just kind of watching. As we touched on in a previous episode, I think it was on Friday, our guest came on and really, I believe it was Haley, came on and talked about how really there's a massive ocean of people out there in damn near every niche in contemplation mode, where they've been looking at and considering something, whether it be affiliate marketing or doing online marketing, whether it's, they're considering buying a particular product, whether it's they're considering a particular workout or getting in shape. I mean, how many of you have been in contemplation mode about getting in shape, about some sort of a workout plan, about some sort of a diet plan, about some sort of a change in your relationship? How many of you are in contemplation mode right now about a bunch of things? And so what I heard you saying was, like, combining this with what Haley said last week, there is an ocean of people who are in that contemplation mode who have already been kind of considering it, but they've never really taken the step to learn, to actually understand. So when you start to feed people simple new concepts, like the newbie stuff, not complicated stuff. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be level 10 information that's going to just go over their head, and it's not going to probably be very entertaining to them. But when you start to post curiosity driven post about just planting the seed about what it might be like if they didn't have to go into the office today, or what it might be like if they got in shape, what might that be like? And then you start to, as you said, give some examples about some really simple concepts. Like, if you are going to build an online business, one of the things that you're going to want to do is pick a niche. Let me tell you what a niche is, because a lot of people hear that word, but they don't really know what the hell it means. And they've never really had anybody break it down for them in a simple way so it's easy to understand. So what I hear you saying is, for when you're new, the way that you got to 250,000 followers on Instagram and Facebook, is that it wasn't that you came on because you're in the online marketing niche. It wasn't that you came on and posted checks of making $1 million a month, because you weren't. But you just planted the seed for people to start to think about what it might be like for them to also be working from home, to also be making money in their sleep, to also be making money on their phone instead of using it as just a device to waste time and scroll and check out from life, as well as beginning to introduce them to some very basic concepts that, quite frankly, anybody who's on this show probably knows and understands already, but does not realize that that simple information can be very, very powerful to somebody who's in that contemplation mode and has not taken that first step yet. That I feel
because
like
it's
what you said?
When I was actually an English teacher. I taught children when I was just after I graduated university. I went overseas, and what I found at that time was taking something that seems so simple. Like, obviously, you teach a kid how to say the word apple or say the word strawberry, and it's obviously, to us, it's like, well, that's so easy. But when you back it down, you make it an entire experience, and it's that first time that they go, and they say that word as an English, as a teacher, it's like, they get so excited. Same thing, that epiphany that comes from empowering, a single stay-at-home mom who has 2 jobs, and you tell her, look, you can earn money in your sleep, because when your video goes viral, you turn your phone off and it's still going. And that suddenly hits them. They go, what? And if the gift in kind from that is like, oh, I can spend more time with my kids, and I just make that the entire message. It makes, something that we find obvious, that is a huge discovery. And I'm trying to elaborate and kind of paint this, because Dave, you totally hit it hard for me. It's like, because the emotional experience that you can make with something so simple is better than the information you can get at level 10. It's like, that's where I spend all my energies, giving people that emotional, like, feeling like, this is really amazing.
Well, it converts better. It converts better to not get into hardcore details and technical details. And it works better to not be the expert in your content, which seems counterintuitive, right? Because it's like, what do you mean not be the expert? Well, stories sell, facts tell. That's what we're trying to say, I think, to all of you who are new here, is that you don't need to be an expert on all the details of whatever your topic or niche is. You need to be able to tell a story, to paint a picture about the result that the person can get once they learn the information. It's not so much about the information. The information is in the product that you're selling, but you need to talk about what the product will do for them. And you need to talk about the pain that they're in, so they can understand that where they're at right now. So it's more like talking about the beginning, where they're at, talking about the end, where they could be, but the product is the thing that can help you get there. And I think that a lot of us go into any sort of marketing, in any sort of business, right? Because I've seen this in brick and mortar businesses. I've seen this you see this all the time. Business owners and salespeople, they want to talk about the middle. They want to talk about what's in the product, and they want to talk about the details, the bells, the whistles. They want to give you a whole overview of the product, and you really don't give a shit you don't care whether the product was if somebody busted into the course and it was like, hey, you're going to do this meditation, say this prayer, turn around 3 times in the morning, do 10 jumping jacks, and bend over and touch your toes, and that's how you're going to create freedom. A person wouldn't care if that's what they had to do, if that got them the result. So
True.
It's so not important about what is inside of the product that you're selling from a marketing standpoint. What is important is that the person that's listening to you understands that you understand where they're at, and that also you have an idea of what can happen when they go through and get this information, what that result looks and feels like right? And so that person connects to the feeling of, ooh, the pain. This person gets my pain. They got my number, right? They know
Yeah.
what I'm going through here with,
Yeah.
and we've done it so far on this show already. I mean, earlier in the show, when people were like, yeah, I've been there, when you were talking about the hard to, climb up the ladder because they're always giving it to the senior person. And, we were identifying with people's pain right there. They were like, yeah, I get that. So that's the idea that I believe I hear you saying, and it's a very brilliant point. And this is also resonates so much with me in my marketing, because I learned very early on that the middle doesn't matter. What's in the product, what the product's name is, what the company is, all that stuff is irrelevant. It is. It really
Yeah.
is, to the person who has no idea what any of that means. To the new person, none of that stuff means anything.
Yeah.
What the company is, whether the company's Inc. 5000 and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, they wouldn't care if the information was taught from a damn troll under the bridge. If that troll under the bridge can understands their pain and can talk about the result that they can get, and even can paint that picture clearly for them. What comes up for you as I rant a little bit about this?
Like
On the head?
it's so true. Like when I think about the people I've helped, and I just think about the folks that I've been able to help, it reminds me how the result is all that we end up measuring. It's like people that it was just what I've summarized, and I've learned to summarize it as, is sell the result, right? Sell the result, and don't worry about the details of if it's a 6-inch by 2-inch by half-inch size cell phone, or if it's the 8-inch by, it's like they just want to know they have the power to get to call their mother on the other side of the world, or whatever it is. So I see that if I am getting results for people, it's showing me that, and I've gotten results, and that's what's cool, right? It's showing me that I'm honoring what I'm doing. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people get anxious. The anxiety of marketers, where they talk about the nitty-gritty middle line details, is because they get anxious. Well, you have faith in me that this is what you're going to do to get there. Well, if you step further, if you it's not blind faith, it's just like, you got to have faith in yourself that you can lead by example. And that's a result in a big degree. I find that people need inspiration for. So and that helps me get through. It helped me help people get through, help them get results. And now I have the reassurance that you don't need to get into the middle part too nitty gritty. And so, yeah, I like the way you said that. I mean, there are stripes to be earned in knowing how to put together an opt-in page, right?
Yeah.
But there's definitely a sensibility to having the patience in mind ahead, knowing that someone is giving you leadership to say, like, okay, when you have your opt-in page, this is the result you're going to get. And that gives them the light so that they don't lose their mind with the new words and language and stuff. So it even helps people through the implementation to know that the result is kind of the torch bearing light in the dark cave of the unknown.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously they need a North Star, and they're making sure that you drive home as a marketer that this is what you're going for. This is the result that you're trying to achieve. And that's why the majority of content that we create should be reminding them about that result, because that's the thing that we want in their head. We want them to have that North Star, So they're in touch with their why. So when they do get scared, when they do, when they are on that checkout page and they're going, oh, I don't know if I want to put my credit card information in here. It might be a scam or whatever, that they're more interested, they're willing to take that risk because what is on the other side of that is so powerful that it's pulling them more powerfully than the fear of, oh my God, I, might be putting my credit card information into some credit card scam ring from, some third world country or something. Right.
Yeah.
And all of those fears and thoughts are very reasonable. They're very, people should be skeptical out there on the internet nowadays. They really should. Right.
Yeah.
And so what is some of the content that you create? What are some of the things that you do that create trust in your audience? What would you attribute besides having an established following where people can see that people are following you despite that, right? If you go back to the earlier days of building your audience, what were some of the other things that you did to create trust, to show people that it was legitimate, what you were talking about, you were legitimate? Because again, I think the biggest question that people have is not, does this work? It's, is this real? Right?
Yeah.
They've not even got to the point in most cases where they're interested in the bells and whistles of if it's actually, they're just still back in this place like, are you even real?
Yeah.
Is this even real? So how do you create that trust with people in other ways besides what some of the things we've already touched on that make them comfortable enough to take the next steps with you, to opt into your page, to move forward inside of your process?
Well, I resonate a lot with the message that you have in the blueprints about everything is a test. You read my mind in that way, because it is. People have, and I love it actually. Skepticism, I appreciate it. People come up to me and they'll say, there's obviously haters that just they blast things in your comments, but then there's some that come into the chat sometime into my DMs and they'll say like, I just want to see like, is this all real? And it's a gift when they give you that message. It's like, all right, they're dropping their guard and they're kind of tiptoeing on the ice saying, is this real? Can I stand on this? And then it
is a gift.
It's a gift because you need to know that people are being courageous, right? And I have this motto because I actually have setters, and I have this motto where I tell them if they even message you anything, and because they're going to be testing you and it might feel like they're triggering you. It's not. It's a gift because they're getting the courage to come and reach out, and you have the opportunity to answer them. And this kind of question, I sometimes will message back saying, that's a healthy skepticism that you have. I really appreciate you asking that question because, there's a lot of problems out there where people don't know what to say, right? And this is a new thing. You're learning a lot about, and it's groundbreaking. If you can catch someone and give them that kind of a message, and that's why I don't use TikTok as much because you can't send voice messages. People come back and they're like, thanks so much for your message. I just can't believe this happens. And usually it's an open book at that point, right?
Yeah, you validate that is so key, so brilliant, so important to point out that when first of all, I just want to recap this real quick and sorry for interrupting, but just for anybody who may have missed that, when people open up to you and seem triggered or seem like they're doubting you or even hating on you, a lot of times what they're really doing is asking. Now, sometimes they'll come right out and ask, but regardless, if they approach you and they are in some way, shape, or form asking, is this real? It's a gift. The number two thing that I want to highlight that you said was validate the skepticism, validate the pain, acknowledge it. Don't butt up against it and get defensive because you look guilty. You look right, but validate it. Say, "Ooh, you're smart for having that skepticism. You should be skeptical. I appreciate that."
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sorry for
It,
interrupting. I wanted to
but
highlight.
it's everything, and it's the hardest for beginners because they get offended and they think, well, why don't you believe me? And then they think, well, that ugly kind of subtle chatter voice that says maybe I made the wrong mistake, and then people quit, and it's the worst. I want to make it I always encourage people. It's a test. They're testing you because they want to know who to try. Because you forget, like, have I been burned by some crypto scammer who's been this and that? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that tons of people get it where they're just like, and they fall prey to the old, trade $5 for $20 and whatever it might be, even worse. But
Yeah.
that's why those tests happen. That's why those people send those messages. And it's groundbreaking because I like to even go further, Dave. It's like some of these people are in such a narrow window of life where they have got nothing going for them. And if you become that beacon of faith where you validate their pain, then the whole world opens up to them and they might be your biggest fan right from there. And so I like to give people the benefit of the doubt when they're skeptical, because you never know what they're going through in life too.
Yeah. And you're the one with the power, even if you have 67 followers. I saw somebody just make the comment there. Granny Sherry, thanks for being here. I'm at 67 followers after 4 months because I had to back off of the overwhelm. I hope the show will show my followers that I'm a real person. Just keep coming back until you break through to the goal line. Hey, Granny Sherry, just based on your name, Granny Sherry, I'm assuming that you're a grandmother, a granny, bit older, and it's really inspirational to see you here and learning and trying and growing. And you're right. You do what you need to do, and you don't forget that even with 67 followers, if somebody's reaching out to you, if they're following you, if they're watching your video versus you watching them, you have the authority. You have the power. And use it wisely. Don't waste it. We have to connect when there's an opening or an opportunity, no matter what it is. We have to know. That is, I think, the secret of sales and marketing, is knowing how to create a diamond in the rough, how to create something from nothing. Whereas most people would look at a comment, a snide comment, a message that's asked, "Is this real? Are you just another scammer?" So, the average person just gets offended by that and just, haters, block. When really it's an opportunity to connect. It's an opportunity to be able to turn something nothing into something and convert that person, as you said, potentially into your biggest fan. And I think you brought up another wonderful point about the majority of people that are on there online, if they're watching your video and they're interested in trying to make some change in their life, they may be feeling hopeless. They may be feeling at a place to where they're at a crossroads. They're looking for something, anything, right? And I think a lot of us have been in that place. So it's not that you're a bad person. This is the human condition. Okay, I think a lot of you are here because of that. I know I got started in this business because I was at a bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a crossroads. I was recently getting clean from an addiction, homeless. I didn't get any more crossroads and bottom of the barrel than that. I'm working construction in the hot Florida sun, looking at my dad be poor and, come going, sleeping on his couch, Yeah. And so having compassion towards that person and remembering that they have some significant pain that they're going through, and showing that compassion, verbalizing that compassion. And you don't have to always do it one-on-one. I think the power of this business in this business model is that through social media marketing right now, we have an opportunity to do it one to many. So surely when you get a message in your DMs, you want to do what we're saying here. But also, this energy and vibe should be what we are using and putting out in our videos. And going back to combining it with the points that you said earlier, which is talking about the pain and then the result, and as well as giving them bite-sized, simple, total novel newbie beginner tips and explanations of what things mean, combined with that energy of compassion and kindness and understanding, as well as a bit of truth, right?
Yeah.
We can't
Yeah.
be, we gotta shoot people straight too, but you say what you mean what you say. You just don't have to be mean when you say it. This, I'm starting to understand now how you've built the audience as you've dropped these little nuggets that I've been able to sort of piggyback on. And so, so talk to us a little bit about some of the other things that you're doing in terms of email marketing and how you've learned to use and leverage some of these other pieces of the business, not just video content marketing. As you and I know, it's not just about the front of the funnel or the top
Yeah.
of the funnel.
Yeah.
Once we get them into the funnel, what do we do with them? So what is your email marketing strategy?
Well, yeah, the novelty of lots of followers is a mystery just to some, and yet it's what you do in the back end that really nurtures people. So once I get attention through Reels, generally I'll nurture people with posts and carousels and things like that, because they like to read. If they watch a reel and follow you, then they read a little bit more. And I do everything I can to encourage them through hints and suggestions. Check the email I sent you. Whatever the challenge is in the email. Did you get the email? I'll ask a lot of real simple one-word questions, or in the comment guide, and check the email I send you. Like I basically get that touch point as like a bunch of lights on the side of the street that illuminates their whole journey, right?
Yeah.
And I want them trained to open emails, because I will broadcast an email every day personally. I mean, I have email marketing. I put together a campaign, and I have a series of soap operas where I'll graduate people if they purchase, for example. I'm not going to do, active campaign with the triggers and this, and if they don't open that, like there's so much that I looked at that once, and I'm like, close that box. I don't know how to do that stuff. But I do enjoy understanding when someone purchases. I put them on a different list, and then I talk to them about different things as soon as they're a customer. But I will always send a broadcast. To me, broadcast emails get people reading, get people seeing you every morning. If you send it, if like I'm a a person that has a routine. I mean, I'm about to become a father, so I don't know what that routine is going to be like when the babies are going to be up and up. But like, give or take, if it's between 8 and 8:30, I've sent out my broadcast email, right? And it's kind of like back in my contractor days. You show up at the job site, you got a jerry can full of fuel, you're set for the day. That task is done, and you go carry on, and you don't worry about it. And people will read the email, and it's got a picture of me in it, so I make it real. I don't make it just a bunch of words. I show my face, and I think about the habits. If at every touch point they think about my name as a person they want to learn more about, and I consistently show a lot of novelty, then they're going to open my email, and then they're going to read it. And that's where I can connect with people, because one to many is totally cool when you're doing reels, but it's public. Comments everybody's commenting. When it's in the email inbox, it's private. So it feels like I sent the email just to them.
Yeah.
I love that because I get people responding to my emails. I'm not the greatest writer, but or copywriter, but when I first started sending broadcast emails, they were pretty bad, but I got better. And
Yeah.
now I know how to bring people to a point where they click more and they open more. And, I even know the subject line. I figured out what subject lines make them open the email more. So there's tons of dimensions in the email marketing, tons. I barely scratched the surface, and I just love it because I get a lot of conversions from there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a very underutilized tool. I heard you point out also using stories on social media,
Yes.
and I think that stories are a wonderful way in which a lot of marketers in our community are connecting deeper. I find myself watching more stories from people versus, especially on Instagram.
Yes.
Instagram is just an absolute, like, I would rather go through my stories on Instagram than I would than scrolling the timeline. Scrolling the timeline on Instagram feels overwhelming to me, but going through stories right up there at the top, even because it'll just play for you, and is all you have to do is just tap the screen. You don't even, I almost think it's a thumb thing. It's like less work because you just have to tap versus scroll. Seriously, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's crazy to say that, but I think that's one of the reasons why they work so well for so many marketers. And if you guys are not using stories, I think you're missing out in a major way on that deeper connection. Because you're right. Once somebody follows you, now you've got them in your world, even if they haven't opted into your email list. And one of the best calls to action is just follow me for more information. It's one of the
Yeah.
calls to action that many of our top marketers are using here in our community. And once you have them in your audience, or they're following you on Instagram, then all of a sudden in your stories, you can drop links right on the story screen that can take them to opt-in pages to then move them into your sales funnel, and help them to make a buying decision, or help them to move a little bit deeper into your sales process. And so I love that you brought that up. And I think that, stories are a great way to also practice content.
Yeah.
Just posting a quick story, and even, you don't even have to record a video. You can also just post pictures in stories. So it's not like you have to, every story has to be a video. So I love that. And you mentioned writing a broadcast every day to your email list, man. I tell you, when I'm only doing hardcore affiliate marketing, which I did for many years, particularly when I got started in this business, I wrote an email every day. And trust me, we did not have Chat GPT. We did not have artificial intelligence. I was not hiring copywriters to write things for me. I was punching the keyboard, man, every day. And it was the most important thing I did for my business. Because you're right. The reason why people don't buy out of your email, if you have an email list, is because you haven't, as you said, trained them to read and first open, but then read your emails.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're not trained to open your emails is because you're not sending enough emails.
Yeah.
Just not sending enough emails. And that first email, and the way they get trained is right when they opt in. They need to get an awesome email from you.
Yeah.
They need to get an awesome email. I don't give a damn if you're a great writer or not. Write an awesome email. Figure it out. It needs to be a story. It needs to have a cliffhanger in it that gets
That
them.
first email, oh yeah, that's like a 50% open rate. And if it's not good, if it bangs and it hits, they'll open the rest of them. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. If you can get them hooked on that first email, it's sort of like, I mean, I hate to use this analogy, but I can freaking use it because I'm a recovering drug addict. But the first one's free, and the first one gets you hooked, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if the first one sucks, forget it. Give me something else.
Yeah.
This sucks. This ain't powerful, right? Give me some good stuff here, right? So what
Yeah.
do? They go out back to the internet looking for something that does hit, that does give them something that's entertaining, that's educational. So there's a couple of ways, just real quick. We've got lots of email marketing training and some right in our affiliate marketing blueprint that you all can go through. But I mean, couple of things that you want to add to that first email is, a quick version of your story, like what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now for you. You want to combine and condense that down into a sort of just a hard hitting, make the story prove a damn point, inspire them a little bit, and give them a link to click back to a product, back to your bridge page, or back right into a product to buy right then, right? And also leave a cliffhanger. Tomorrow I'm going to teach exactly how a scoop of ice cream and going to the bathroom in the woods made me an extra $1,000 the first month that whatever it is, right? It's like, what in the hell? What is he talking about? Ice cream, going to the bathroom in the woods? Holy crap, this guy's crazy, right? But that cliffhanger about what that next email is going to deliver, sort of like every great show. I mean, a lot of the best, if you guys are dead broke and you can't afford any training, then I guarantee you've watched Netflix in the last year. What did every episode of every Netflix series or Hulu or Prime TV, what did every episode end with?
A cliffhanger. Yeah.
A dadgum cliffhanger. What does that do? It gets you pissed. It makes you want to come back. I want to know when does the next one release, right? So it's like, get them looking forward to the next email. And then, like you said, and I've suggested this a million times, and some will, some won't. Oh well, writing that daily email, that broadcast to your list. I mean, obviously, what we're talking about here is an email automated series, and that's obviously something that's important to have. Like when somebody opts in, they get an email right away. But there's also nothing wrong with writing an email and sending it to people. They would get 2 emails in a day if they just opted into my list. They would get one email that dadgum was from my automated series, and they'd get one email that was a broadcast about my day. And it's like, maybe they'll read one of them. Maybe they'll read both of them if the first one was good enough, right?
Yeah. In my opinion, it comes down to, you make that novel one about your day, and then the second one, which is modestly like a sales letter, because it's like but it's got some story to it because it's the soap opera, as you say, with the cliffhangers. It's a double dose. It's a double do. It's an appetizer and the main course, when it comes to, as you say, as soon as they get the feeling that they like it, it's like they just can't get enough. They open them all the time, and it's just a matter of time. And that's what I was going to say earlier, is that it's a test of time. When you're getting started, the first thing that happens is people test you in the sense of time. Is he going to be here for 6 weeks? Maybe I'll watch him for a while, see if he goes off and does something else. That's the instinct. I'm just going to double check that. So many times people will watch me for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and they're like, I can't believe it. He's still positive, joyful, and exuberant about these such simple things. All right, I'm going to look at this. Okay, I'm going to click on that now. And it's just defies odds, because everyone else in their circle of, lifestyle has that complaint attitude now and again, and, water cooler chitter chat where they're a little bit negative. That was a big thing, Dave, for me, when I'm like, no, I don't want that kind of lifestyle anymore. And I created it, and then I got it, and I inspire others to do it.
Yeah.
That was the big test of time.
And people are watching. People are exactly like you said. A lot of times your buyers will not comment a damn thing. They will not even let you know that they're watching, but they are watching. And They are waiting for you to quit. They are waiting for you to stop. They are waiting to say, "I told you he was whatever," whatever
Yeah.
they thought you initially were. But when you continue to show up and they're still, in their search for the answer, for some sort of hope, they're still miserable with their problem, whatever their problem
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And you're still talking about the solution, and you're still talking about you're still talking about the pain of being in that problem, but also the fact that you have found a solution to that problem and what it's like to have the solution. And they're watching every day, you with the solution as they sit in the problem. Eventually they buy. I'm serious.
It's true. It's true.
The reason why I made
It's
that
not complicated, but it is a
it
test.
works in any niche too. It works in any niche. If I'm sitting there miserable with my dog who won't listen, who's crapping all, chewing everything up, I take him to the dog park. He's biting dogs, getting in fights, biting the mailman. I used to have one of these dogs, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I had to give him to my dad when my daughter was born back 7 years ago, and actually he just passed away. He was a great dog, but the damn dog, went after the freaking mailman, for God's sakes. Bit the mailman. We couldn't get mail. We couldn't get mail dropped in our house mailbox. We had to install a freaking mailbox at the road. We were the only ones in the neighborhood who because our damn dog. But if I'm on Instagram and I see some person who says, I know, because they talk about it, their dog also used to chase the mailman and lawsuits and all this other kind of crap. But they're showing videos of their dog sitting, listening, going to the dog park, whistling, taking commands, all this kind of stuff. I'm sitting there going, son of a bitch, son of a gun.
Whatever it costs. Show me how, right? Yeah.
And if they're still doing it day after day, week after week, they're still there, and they're like, God, I'm so happy. And they can tell by the way that you're living that the result has brought you joy and happiness. It's been beneficial. Eventually, they will cave and say, all right, my skepticism is not more important than the solution that you have. I'm ready. But I think the key that you said is they are waiting for you to stop and to find a hole, to poke a hole. And so if you do stop and you do switch or change or all of a sudden drop off social media, they're going to go, I knew it. And they're going to go find somebody else who was consistent, who did not stop, and they're going to move forward with that person. People are going to buy and do business. That is not the question. The only question is, who will they do it with?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love having found out that by way of tenacity. And then now it became a lifestyle. And it doesn't feel like work. That's why I love digital marketing, because it is essentially, it's just, so long as I don't consume more than like 2% of my day, like I do have to consume, and I find the right things for my problems. So I got solutions and I use it because I'm not a hypocrite. I use social media for good things, but creating, I still focus 98% of my time on creating. And that means I'm always showing up.
Yeah. Well, brother, it's been a pleasure. Congratulations on newfound fatherhood coming up for you here real soon. We'll be praying for you and sending you good vibes. And yes, your routine will certainly change. So I'll be looking forward to hearing an update about that and how that's going. Thank God you have these skills in this business for that new chapter of your life. Anyone who is considering when's the best time to plant a tree, i.e. start a business, well, yeah, it was back 10 or 20 years ago. It was back 10 or 20 months ago, but the second best time would be now. So when that new thing comes up in your life, whether it's having kids, whether it's retirement, whatever it is, that you already, like Nigel, have something that is cash flowing, that's generating results in your business and in your life, and you don't have to start it, you just have to adjust it. And that's all you'll have to do, my friend. And I know this is just the beginning of your journey. So keep up the great work. Stay legendary, my friend, and come back and see me in a few months and let me know how it's going, okay?
Thanks so much.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
All right, my friends, you can go and follow Nigel over at Lavers Nigel Vinson. I'm going to spell that out for you. LaversNigelVincent. Lavers Nigel Vinson on Instagram. And go from there, my friends. What a powerful episode from an internet marketing vet who's got a bit of experience before he got here, but was, hungry, humble, eager enough to, come in and roll in our challenge, go through our blueprints, want to come and learn all that he can learn to sharpen his skills, no pun intended, and to grow, man. That's what this is all about. This is just all about, and what I think you'll learn from and hear from all of these guys and gals who do come to Legendary to learn, who already have some skills, they're dropping a few $1,000s on on our program here to learn one or two advantages, just to learn. And it doesn't have to be a groundbreaking, life-changing, oh my God, that was thank God that 2,500, it's just been, I've gotten a 1,000,000% return on that. And oh my God, it doesn't have to be that. It's just an advantage. How much can that change your life? A 2% tweak. And certainly for some of you going through our programs, it's going to feel like a life-changing decision. And for many of you, it does. But I want to remind you that the journey doesn't end. It doesn't stop learning, growing. It doesn't end once you buy something. It never ends. The better you get, the more you realize that you don't know and that you can grow. And so when I see somebody like Nigel coming on and coming through our programs and coming here learning and humbly saying, hey, I just want to come here and learn everything I can learn and be a part of the community. That is inspiring, and it's respectable, it's honorable, and it is the exact reason why he's been successful up until this point, because of that mindset. So get out of the mindset of, hey, oh my God, if I buy these blueprints or that's going to be the life-changing end all be all thing it's just the beginning of your journey. And once you become successful, you will become hungry for more knowledge. You will start to see the value of investing in yourself, and you will be less hungry for, the new car or the designer bags or whatever, and more hungry for the knowledge to upgrade your income and your impact and make more money, where new cars and new bags will become boring. You'll be able to afford them. It won't be such a, oh my God, I got a new Louis Vuitton purse, or I got a new watch or whatever. It will become something that can be more attainable for you. And the real challenges in life will not become gaining those materialistic things, but leveling up yourself to get to the next level, challenging yourself to learn something new, to take your business to the next level, to be new at something. That's another thing that, as marketers and entrepreneurs, when new things come out on the internet, like artificial intelligence, or back when TikTok launched, it was like, okay, this is new challenge. Let me see if I can go dominate this. Let me see if I can go be successful with this, right? It was sort of like what this show was. Back when we started during the pandemic, well, it was like, okay, let me go from, creating content and doing podcasts where I'm talking the majority of the time, or where I'm interviewing other gurus, to, interviewing my clients and students, and just a different challenge. And so, my friends, today is a day where you can make a decision to start the journey, not to end the journey, not to have the mindset that, oh, once I enroll in these blueprints, or once I, take this challenge, or once I attend Decade in a Day, that's going to be, the skies are going to part and stone tablets are going to be delivered to me with the exact answer to change my. to finally change my life. No, you're just starting the journey of growth, and that's personal and business growth. And my hope is you become addicted to that. You become addicted to growing, right? Because if you do, like Nigel, success will be way more than if you were to set goals with that mindset for 1 year, 2 years down the road, you will shortchange yourself. You will achieve more than you can ever imagine. It's just that shift in perspective. We'll be back here tomorrow for another episode, my friends. Make today great. Stay legendary. And thank you all for the kind comments, the warm affirmations and validation that you always give us here in the comments and as feedback back to us. It makes the show exactly what it is. And thanks again, Nigel, for a legendary morning. Get out of here, my friends. Stay legendary. Peace.